Good evening, dear colleagues, ladies, gentlemen, everybody, to the second day of Fests of Fests hybrid webinars 2024. It is our great pleasure to go to the second day of our webinars and having with us Joanna Solecka from Poland. She's a film marketing and social media strategist at Alphapanda, an international film marketing agency specializing in digital campaigns for the film industry. Alphapanda's clients include the European Film Awards, Warner Bros. Under the Milky Way, as well as many well-known European sales agents, distributors, and production companies. Additionally, Joanna in herself mentors and lectures with film training programs and labs worldwide and supports various international film institutions and film funds in multiple capacities. She's specializing in children's content. She's a member of the advisory boards of Documentary Association of Europe, as well as of Circle, Women Doc Accelerator. Please welcome Joanna, and thank you for accepting our invitation, Joanna.
Thank you very much for this warm welcome. Welcome, everyone. We have ahead of us 2 intense hours of inspiring sharing of thoughts, ideas about Generation A. Generation A is a generation that comes next after Generation Z. We're talking about the kids that are born after 2010, and actually while speaking they are still being born, so it's really like having a reflection on a generation of now. We will have an amazing opportunity to hear the experiences, first-hand tips and ideas coming from a great variety of cohort of stakeholders in the industry that deals with children's content. I think we would like to start. Let's start with our first guest. Please welcome with me on stage Pantelis Panteloglu.
Hi.
You are the president of ECFA, European Children Film Association, and also you are a director, artistic director of the Olympia International Film Festival for Children and Youth. I presume you have an amazing experience working with exactly children and young audiences, but I would like to start by asking you about the role of European Children Film Association and also about the changes that you are now facing as an organization when thinking about Generation A.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation for a start. I would like to say that the ECFA is an organization, is an association, a professional association based in Brussels with 165 members at this moment, around 165 from 42 different countries. It's organizations that participate and are very active in the field of film festivals, children film festivals, film education, film production, distribution of films, etc. It started back in 1988, and it has matured in a pretty robust organization at this moment, which remains deep in its heart. It remains a grassroots organization. It's an organization that is run by people on the basis of participation, where members bring in ideas and the association tries to implement the ideas. So we're working with kids. And we're also working with films. And this is what we are doing also with the Olympia International Film Festival for Children and Young People that's taking place since 1997 here in Greece. So, and this is what I'm doing. This is this is how I make a living. So this is, yeah, let's say I'm an expert in this, but not exactly because I am an expert, but because there is a community around it. And I'm trying to reflect a little bit on on what this community thinks about these kind of issues, like what Generation A would mean. So I have to admit that when I was told by the organizers what's the topic for today, I said, okay, I have to, prepare something. And the first thing I did was to use ChatGPT, because I like it in a way, but I tried to see how, if it would bring something up. And it did bring up an outline of a presentation, of a 10-minute presentation that I was asked to do here. And about Generation A and its relationship with media and films. It was pretty complete, but it was quite expected. I mean, it would say that Generation A they are digital natives. They know how they know their ways with digital devices. They have some consumption habits that lead them to on-demand availability of material. They like short and very short formats like TikTok or whatever. And the outline concluded that we should adapt to to those habits. I like ChatGPT because it kind of brings something which is not exactly the general knowledge, but the balance of it is pretty much the mainstream, and the mainstream ideas around what we're doing. For me, there were some things missing, and I tried to make it a little better by asking some questions to the ChatGPT, and I asked it to add a few things into the outline about film and media education, and there was no mention at all about the impact of the structure of the industry, of how the industry works, what the media industry goals are. So it was describing a generation without describing what the industry does for this generation, which is an issue, in my opinion, and I think not only in my opinion. So I understand the need to frame things within categories and to taxonomies, let's say, but especially when we're talking about generations, these taxonomies tend to diminish diversity, I think. And it's not exactly that a generation is uniform within. So it has diversity within the generation, and we need to find ways not to homogenize things, but to promote diversity. So it would be also totally wrong to discuss about what children do today without having in mind that they do what they get offered. So there is a demand, but there's also an offer, and the demand is structured around this offer, which is coming from a robust industry which makes experiments, of course. This is how the world goes forward, but it also invests heavily in this process. So there are cases where the experiment has to be successful because the investment is important. So you need to have to show that you're successful. This isn't always the case. Actually, I think that you understand what I'm talking about. So we tend, in some cases, to block ourselves into a description of things, into the categorization of things.
Patrice, can you maybe give us some sort of example so we can follow what
Yeah,
you
I could just
explain?
mention that, for example, TikTok's formats didn't fall out of the sky. They are part of a model. The model is produced by a specific company that has specific goals. So it's not neutral. Of course, there's an impact, but to take it for granted, I don't know if it makes sense to take it for granted. It is there, of course. But is it the only solution, the only thing that would happen? So if we describe the generation on the basis of the model that was prepared by the executives of TikTok, then we are saying what the TikTok executives are saying. So this is not what we have been doing actually in the festival, and I think also in the ECFA. So this is my point of view. I think that on the other hand, there is a you know a world, let's say, community. I belong to this community. This is what I think about me and about the organizations that I'm related with, both Olympia and the ECFA, where we have pretty different foundation. And I would like to read a bit of the ECFA vision, as we call it, which is also, it's very public, actually, it's on our website, but it's talking about film. Film is one of influential arts. It has the power to transform societies and people, we say in the ECFA vision. And each individual should have access to it. And children, since they cannot provide this themselves, need ambassadors for children's films. And this is what the ECFA is trying to do in various different ways. And it has to raise awareness about the importance of quality children film and media, and the power of art in general when we talk about younger people. And the ECFA, this is part of the vision also, respects children's point of view and promotes quality European cinema, enabling children to cherish and enjoy film and stimulate their love for cinema. This is how we put it in the vision. And we would like to see to have operational structures that support quality children films in all countries. This is, in a way, it has already been done. We have 42 different countries. Our members are in 42 different countries. It's growing, but it's quite an important number. So I think that this line of work is a little bit different to the this line of work comes from some professionals and some grassroots professional organizations and some grassroots organizations that are working systematically in the field of children's film and film education. I think we have to see both these two things together. And it's much different to the louder and ever-present mainstream discussion of what they are doing, how they consume or whatever. In the end, it ends up to how we maximize consumption.
All right. So if you could tell us, because there is this loud communication around what Generation A is and how they consume media. So what is the silent impact of coming from the grassroots organizations like yours?
In our experience, you always work with kids that in the beginning have no experience in what you are doing, I mean, to present films or whatever. So you try to bring in there is this word that the French film critic and theorist Alain Begala uses, which is the idea of passeur, the person who passes the idea of film culture and cinephilia to younger people. And for us, it's very important to talk about the social aspect of cinema and media in general, I think, and to talk about the fact that through media we can also understand the world around us, but at the same time we can also prepare a criticism for this world. It's not that the media languages belong only to the organizations that prepare the products. There's also other ways to do it, and this comes from the tradition of, the art of cinema, which is a more, diverse and creative thing that is not counted in numbers, actually, in the end. It's not about how many people were your audience, or how many tickets you sold, or how many ads were pushed through the video you had on YouTube. So there are different ways to do things, and I think we need to preserve something that was there from the beginning of the building up of the community of people who are interested and active in the field of the connection of children with cinema and with media in general, and with education. And the fact there was that we were not talking about how we're going to make people consume something, but how they're going to think about it mostly, how they're going to end up to experience it. and how they're gonna move on with their lives from then on. I think, in a way, there are obviously some issues around this thing because it's not popular, it's not easily funded. So there are challenges in terms of funding. And it needs to be, you need to be, to insist in order to make it, because it's not something that's happening, from one day to the other, and it doesn't show its outcome and its impact and its result on the short term.
Because we are in our audience now, today, we might have people not only from Europe, but also maybe from other continents. Just so I would like to understand the essence of ECFA. Do you perceive yourself as a think tank, or actually also, a solution provider and with the
We're trying to
executive power?
structure our work in four things, which is networking, lobbying, getting together, which is important, and supporting good practices, best practices. So we are doing things around. There is this a big part of the organization is film festivals, children film festivals. But then we're also trying to be active also in the film education field with doing what we can with the resources that we have. We don't have many resources, and for me it's also very important to see the ECFA as a point of entrance to the field. This is one thing, and the other thing is as a point to go to if you have a problem, if you're facing a challenge, actually. So you need. I think that it's good for people who are active in the field of film education or in film festivals, in children film in general, in this connection of children and film. I'd love to see all of them coming into the ECFA at some point, because it means that we can share our resources, and this is what we're trying to do within the ECFA.
You only have European members, or you're also?
No, we have members also from other continents, but there is this rule, sort of, which is there has to be some interest on the European content. So we're working with European films, and around European films we have a very extended database of films where you can, which is for free available on the website, and you can use it to find films for your festival or for any other activity around the world, which is a way to help the European production. And at the same time, we have the ECFA Awards, which are awards that are being given in 22 this year, different festivals around the world, and this ends up with a big yearly ECFA Award for the best feature film and the best short film and the best documentary also.
That's the award that's given to the producer, or
we are giving the idea is that you try to always to put the director first, but
okay.
In many cases it's the producer, so it's
okay. And if we go back to our main topic, which is Generation A, and you would think from ECFA perspective and your initiatives, and if you would need to mention any of the initiatives targeting Generation A, what would you say?
As an association, we have members who are doing many things around Generation A, but I would like to mention especially some things that are happening around Europe at this point that are very interesting. One very nice thing that was also supported by Creative Europe was the Cinemini Europe project, which is not an ECFA project, but it's really very interesting because it's about films and experimental films and a little bit strange films for kids from 3 to 6 years old, along with educational material and possible activities, etc.
How is it called? Cinema?
Cinemini Europe. Cinemini.
Cinemini.
And we also have, as the ECFA, we have organized in the last year, we had a big event in Bologna in Italy, which was called the Workshop Warehouse, where we had film educators participate in a series of workshops organized by other film educators, all members of the ECFA, which was like a 3-day event where 60, 65 people came together to discuss what they're doing when they're active with in film education. So we had and this is going to be repeated next year also. So it's going to be every 2 years, which is this is something focused on film education only. Many of the things there, of the participating workshops, are meant for the Generation A, because it's for younger kids. For me, it doesn't always solve the problem if you I mean, we don't invent categories. We try to have them, come up from the data. And I understand the need to put some kind of definitions, but there are so many things that remain the same. So in some cases, I don't know if the Gen Z definition with the Generation A definition is that different in the end. Would it make a big difference to have or to have not this term? I don't know. I mean, I don't disagree with coining the term, but I think that we need to see the generations as in a flow. It's a flow. It's not
Rapture.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's a technical. The limit that they should be born after 2010 is a technical limit.
Of course.
Nothing special to happen in
And let me
2010.
also remind us that the Generation A are the kids of millennials, and since they are, when you are up to 10 years old, you still tend to follow the habits of your parents. So somehow they can also look at the millennials to see
What the kids are doing.
what their kids are doing, and of course, the social media usage is very strong and powerful and platforms for the millennials generation.
Can I mention something?
Of course.
This fact is also interesting to see that there are cases that within the industry or within the people who make the decision makers, the policy makers, they are part of this generation too, and they have a similar experience. So how would we expect someone who grew up binge watching the latest Netflix series, which is okay, to understand the idea of, getting deeper into each and every film, and it's not easy for them to understand in some cases. So we need to do some work with that. This is the kind of work that ECFA members have been doing, and I think we need to be more active in terms of lobbying, because there are many people around us and people in important positions who make decisions that do not really understand what we are trying to do. It's not, but this is not new.
This is not new. But also, thank you very much, Pantelis, because you actually brought to the very important topic of grassroots and professionals' role in counterparting the mainstream opinion about how Generation A is perceived, or how, what kind of opportunities do we have as the industry to talk to them, and they are very homogenic, and then we are now here to, it's also how I see our role, to bring more variety in terms of how we target them, and what do we offer them, because that's also a very interesting perspective of the demand that is actually structured by the offer. I think that's it. Thank you very much. That was a very, it's just the first point of view. I think we will have more today coming from other stakeholders that will add to that. Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. And right now, I would like to invite our next guest, Vasilis Karamitsanis.
Hello.
Right. All right. Hello. Welcome.
Hello. How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you. So, Vasilis, let me just quickly introduce you.
Absolutely.
You are. First of all, you have a great experience and knowledge and background in animation sector. as well as opera, by the way, which is a surprising element in your curriculum, but you might also talk about it. But today we are very much focused on Generation A, so the kids stuff and the films. You are also a president of Anima Syros, an international animation festival here in Greece, and also a president of International Center of Films for Children and Young People. And I would like to start by asking you, what is the difference? Because we just had Pantelis here speaking from the ECFA point of view. You are running International Center of Films for Children and Young People. This is also an international organization dealing with the content for the kids. So could you just very quickly explain what's the difference between the two?
Yeah, I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me, and thank you so much for exquisitely moderating the session. I deal with an international organization, mainly focusing on non-European places, myself being a proud European, being Greek born and raised. As said, I have I'm a lawyer by profession, but on my free time, I've been busy for 20 years with animation, a lot of kids animation, but not only kids animation. And this led me to become a member of the CFEJ family, which is Centre International du Film pour les Enfants et la Jeunesse, founded back in 1955 under the auspices of UNESCO in Paris, where it stayed with a very fruitful contribution towards quality children's and young people's media, at that time mainly television, till the early 90s, where it moved to Montreal. And after that, like when we talk moved, we mean about the headquarters of the organization. And then we changed continent and we went to South Africa. And then now we're hosted in the historical country of Iran, in the historical city of Tehran. The entire organization is a brother or sister organization, sibling organization of ECFA, with which we have very close ties and constant communication, exchanging know-how and expertise. Most of our European members are also important and active members of ECFA. And we very much appreciate the work achieved by ECFA all these years in the field, not only of promoting quality audiovisual production for young people and kids in Europe, but expanding its range beyond our continent. However, let's come back to CFEJ. CFEJ has been since 1955 an active organization with not more than 130 people as members. In this organization, you can be a member as an individual, audiovisual professional, or as an organization, of course, under an annual subscription. There are lots of perks being member of CFEJ, apart from being part of a very vivid international community and very strikingly contrasting, because we Europeans, we are very different one from another, but still we share very many common features. This is not the case on a global level, and it's not the case also on the main characters of any kid's generation, and more precisely the generation Alpha. I've been hearing yesterday and today mostly using the term Generation A, but I would like to proudly say Alpha because it was named after the first name of the Greek alphabet, which of course is familiar, is family in the same family like the Latin alphabet. So the Generation Alpha in our continent is far much less represented than in other continents like Africa and Asia, where the birth rate is enormously higher. So the needs are growing and much more urgent at the moment for quality media, especially with the profusion of all this social media, even at very early age. Also, the protection sometimes of artificial rights in many countries around the world outside Europe is not at the level which would be ideal, which means that kids are being left alone a little bit by technology unsavvy parents or grandparents to use social media and all the technological applications without the precautious way that some European families may do. So for us, it's very important not only to aggregate in our circles of CFEJ the most important of the global quality media production for kids and young people, but also do a number of other activities like we do the CFEJ Award. We organize even during the pandemic and now more physically, but at the pandemic we did lots of digital workshops in the field of animation, in the field of live action, in the field of theory, in the form of a seminar about computer generated animation imaging techniques with the participation from a totally international environment. Some of the kids were not even English proficient, even though most of the workshops are being held always in English. But because they're so keen on using technology and digital imaging, they could participate with the assistance of an adult or even without any assistance. And this created an important global audience for the workshops organized even now, of course, more on a physical basis now that we overcame the COVID adventure, the COVID pandemic circle. Next to this, we have a number of awards, like most of the partner festivals of CFISH, which are around the world promoting kids and young people's films. They award the CFISH Award, not only European, but also international festivals around the globe. And we are very proud, of course, to offer the label of CFISH to important audiovisual professionals comprising a jury promoting excellence and good values for kids and young people's films. We do award regularly, not on a yearly basis, but regularly the Lifetime Achievement Award. And we, over all these years with this Lifetime Achievement Awards, we have paid honor to very important people around the globe in all 5 continents, and we are happy to include them in our circles as honorary members. At this level, I would like to draw attention about the organizers who were kind enough to include us in the European circle today, even though we're a global organization. But the globe does include Europe a lot, and in a whole, we're in an event organized with the support of the European Union. So I'm happy not to take more time for my European counterparts, the other speakers of the European session. And if you would like to learn more about what we do, about not only Generation Alpha, but the entire range of people from zero to a little bit slightly after adolescence, you may visit cfish.org and our social media on Facebook and on Instagram. And please give a shout to me if you need anything. It's cfish@animaciros.gr for any kind of information requested. I give the floor to the next speakers. Thank you so much, Joanna, for this wonderful, exquisite moderation.
Thank you very much, Vasilis. I think maybe we have one more question if you still have time. Vasilis, are you still with us? Yes, you are.
I'm still with you.
I would like to use the opportunity of your background in animation and to ask you about the changes in the animation sector when it comes to the Generation A. Are there any changes?
A lot of changes. Very, very good question and very to the point, Joanna. Thank you for asking. I just wanted to focus more on my CFEJ capacity. So I'm changing the hat now and I'm putting my Anima Series presence in 17 years. So Anima Series has been the largest animation festival in Greece for years now. It's the largest animation festival and market in the region, which means in the whole Mediterranean, lying great importance on kids, but not only on kids. Initially, our basic um, instinct was just to break the stereotype that animation was all about Disney movies addressing young kids. And actually, we introduced lots of adult films. But in essence, we realized the importance of kids' animation in growing our audience, in grounding our audience, and developing our audience. And we also understood the importance of animation education, organizing a very large number of animation workshops throughout the year, and especially during this week, the last week of September every year on the island of Syros. We're one of the five largest animation festivals, largest cinema festivals taking place in Greece, as we were discerned this year by the Hellenic Film Academy. The only one taking place on an island, and we're proud of this. But of course, there are lots of hardships involved in this endeavor. Going now to very young kids and animation, you see that animation is not anymore only in cinema halls or in digital streaming platforms, but is everywhere, ranging from social media to advertising to any kind of application we use in our everyday life. Sometimes even air fryers are using little animations in order to explain how we have to use them. And this is not something new in some countries like Far East, especially Japan. Most of you who have visited this country, you've been watching animation in the metro stations everywhere. So animation is a means of soft power which can really transfer very good signals and very good content, very good messages to very young people. Why? Because the young people of this era, of this time, has nothing to do with the 5-year-olds of 30 or 50 years old. I'm 48, so of 43-year-old years before now. They're very trained, they're very adaptive. They get not to play in the fields or outside in a square around the corner in urban areas, but they sit in the house in front of a screen, whether this is the smartphone of a parent or it's a tablet or it's a big screen like a TV. And they're very educated in terms of imaging. What they're not educated about, because everything has got even more commercial and even more consumption based, I agree totally with Pandelis on this approach, is to discern and make their own choices about good content. What's important for an animation festival and for the entire European, I can say, animation world is to divert very young kids, kids of the generation Alpha, who are already kids of the millennials, who grew with some kind of strong animation um, background and stimuli, is to bring them to the right stimuli. What is right is a very big discussion, of course, but what I can say is like our group of rank A animation festivals around Europe and the world, we are collaborating closely in order to approach the very young audience. And I think we're not yet achieved to have a really responsible programming, but at least we're touching the lines where kids are being respected, not only as viewers, but also as future citizens. This is the most important thing and the most important feature that animation and cinema as a whole can bring to generation alpha and any generation to come in the future.
Thank you very much, Vasilis. I think that was a really important point to also talk about exactly how the how the film language is changing from the animation point of view, and how the animation is gaining more and more space in the communication, in the media consumption as well. But this leads us to our next guest. Thank you very much, Vasilis. I would like to invite Isabelle Minguillon right now, a Barcelona-based uh,
Hello, everybody. Hi, Joanna.
Hello. Hello. Good to see you with us. Good to have you with us, Isabella.
Thank you.
We will move now from the animation sector straight into documentaries, because this is, this is a very we are talking about diversity here as well, and you are representing an innovative project called Nextus, where you are the head of acquisition and internationalization. And the goal of Nextus is to revolutionize education by using documentaries as an effective tool for teaching and learning in a 21st century, and with a special focus, that's my understanding, to boost the critical and analytical thinking in young people minds. I'm really looking forward to discover what it really means. Well, how do you do it? What is the idea behind the Nexus?
Yes, well, first of all, thank you. Thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Lena, for inviting. Thank you, the organization, for inviting us here. We were born from the educational branch of Docs Barcelona. I don't know if you know this festival of documentaries based in Barcelona. It's this year we have run the 26th edition, so it's quite a long time. And from this idea, we have a section there that it's called Docs and Teens, where we bring young students from different places of Catalonia to screen in the big screen a documentary, and then we open a debate. There is conversation with technicians, director, or whoever, to discuss about the documentary. We realized there that when we made these sessions, there were, I don't know, more than 50, 60 children in the theater raising their hands, asking questions. So that's where we realized that, you know, when you approach quality content, the children, they appreciate it. So we start thinking how we could really put together the two universes of education and audiovisual. And that's how Nexus was born. With the support of the European creative media, we started in 2020 to develop the project. Thanks also to our colleagues from Greece, from Thessaloniki Film Festival and DocFest Munich, we came up with this platform that, hearing my colleagues before, you know, it's certain that Generation Alpha has grown up with technology. So that's something that we cannot avoid from having in education. So I've also heard that certainly sometimes, as Vasilis said, they're left alone. The children are left alone in front of, you know, the screen or whatever. This is where we want to help students by this platform. This platform is a multilingual educational platform that wants to teach or help children from all around the world to learn different subjects through documentaries. Okay, so that is how we want we don't really want to make them learn mathematics as it is, or science. They have thousands of things that work like this. We want to help them to develop critical thinking. And this is where we appear. And that's a little bit in the line of my previous colleagues, that, you know, these children will be you know, will shape future policy decisions. They will be, you know, they will define cultural trends. We should be able to, you know, to help them develop this critical spirit and help them, you know, to find out and to think and to praise efforts rather than just results, to choose activities that help them to promote, you know, thinking and discussion. So may I, Joanna, be able to share the screen moment and explain you a little bit how we work this?
Of course.
Thank you. Okay, are you able to see it now?
We see it, but we see the screen. You can make it bigger.
Okay, can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. Our premises is what would have happened, you know, in the history of the world if the movie images had arrived before the alphabet. How would we be training students today? How would we be learning? So this is our first sort of premises. What do we do? As we said before, as my colleague said before, it's not easy to have children watching a screen for 1 hour and a half. It doesn't make sense, especially because, you know, we're based on the concept that big screen, 1 hour, TV, a little bit less, and if you are with a computer, you know, we reduce the time of screening. So what do? We work with film documentaries. We acquire the educational licenses. We have in the platform, all the documentaries are in original language with subtitles in each of the countries that we are implemented. We work with pedagogical resources, and now I will explain you a little bit how we work. We organize all our areas in subjects, and we classify them by ages. Okay? So what do we do with the documentaries? We clip them. We segment them in clips of from 3 to 7 minutes that are self-contained. And from there, we group clips from different documentaries and create a pedagogical resource. Okay? They can have the same line of idea, or they can be completely opposite. So that can help them to, to open a debate. So here you can see the platform. We have it divided by subjects and themes. So this is a little bit the workflow, and I would like to show you. We start with a documentary, we clip it, and we create the activities, the pedagogical resources related to the activity. We work with different subjects from climate change to how to work entrepreneurship, on how to work situations in mentoring, for instance, classes such as bullying or sexual, abuse in social media. We work from all different areas that we think are important for students to know about, and this helps them to open themselves. And certainly the documentaries, the big advantage of the documentaries is that you empathize with the subjects, because it's something that it's real and it's happening around the world, and something that is happening to you might be happening to someone else in Montreal. So right now we're implemented in more than 550 educational centers. We have more than 5,000 teachers that are using us and more than 120,000 students. We started, as we said, with our colleagues from Greece and Germany. Now we're going to start working with Portugal, Italy, and North Macedonia. So these are the territories we will be collaborating. This is, you see the raised hands that in the sessions that we create. So they're really, it's really very, very impressive. So I also wanted to add one more thing, and is that this year we've made like sort of experiment taking next steps out of the classrooms. So what we've done is working with all the, with at least it was like 10 schools, creating some workshops on how to make a documentary in the classroom with a mobile phone. And all these students have created different documentaries. And this year, in a big screen, we have made like a showcase with all the documentaries that they have been working on. They've seen their own documentaries, in the screen, if they were like 5 minutes or 10 minutes documentaries. And so that's something that's been so nice to share with them, to see, this interaction, because we think that sometimes technology doesn't really need to be only, from a screen or something that you just interact, through the technology. But we also want to, approach or make this approach and share ideas and try to introduce documentary and audiovisual in education.
Thank
So
you very
I
much.
hope that I've explained a little bit myself of what we are and what we're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I found it especially important that I'm also very active myself in the documentaries. I very much believe in the power of these stories that are happening, that they can inspire especially our young audiences around the world. And I also saw some of the titles that I was working on in your presentations. I was very happy to see that they are still still circulating and having an
Absolutely.
impact on the audience around the world. Although, you know, when I saw the Poland, so my home territory, out of your network, I thought this is actually a shame, because we definitely have, there is definitely something to do, and we are a big territory, an important territory also. But then maybe, you know, after we have one more guest from Poland today, that definitely, I think this is a good networking moment to talk about possible collaboration, as you know, this kind of
Absolutely.
platforms are more than welcome in our territory. Thank you very much, Isabel, and we will continue right now with Nextus, because our next guest is Irini Delidaki, that actually has been working with Nextus and can tell us from another perspective of the user, but also as an educator, as a facilitator. Your experience working with the young audience content spans between being an educator of Thessaloniki Cinema Museum. You also are behind the design of a series of activities corresponding to preschools and elementary school students. You have been a supervisor of implementation of Nextus, the platform we just talked about. And what is also even more important, you work directly with teachers and designed a series of webinars to introduce them to Nextus. And by the way, also, last but not least, you are also a film programmer of Thessaloniki Film Festival Next Generation. Where would you like to start? There's so many things. That's true.
Interesting to hear all these roles. Okay, thanks at first to begin with. Thanks for the invitation. Thanks to give me the opportunity to share some beliefs. I would like to say, first of all, that I'm so glad to be among you, among some person that I believe that maybe we share the same beliefs, maybe the same visions that carefully be portrayed in the phrases film education and generation alpha. We are here representing as extremely carefully described by you to describe what means Nextas for the Greek partner for the Thessaloniki International Film Festival. And as Isabel mentioned, it's okay the PPT or no? It's okay, I think, because I haven't seen it. Okay, thanks so much. Thanks so much. Yeah. Thank you. As Isabel mentioned in the previous representation, on the first phase of Nextas, we're trying to put on Fairfront Generation Z. As we mainly focused on students from 12 to 18 years old. So as the second phase is on board, we're trying to go a step further, I think. So to the current presentation, we would like to share how we experience the first phases of Nextus One, and in the next step, what's next for Nextus? Next for Nextus, you know, how we're trying to attract Generation Alpha, the generation that handles technology better than more adults, I can maybe dare to say. So the next journey begins for us during the COVID period, 2020. First station, the content. Between September to October 2020, we participated in this enrichment of the content, proposing various titles of European and mainly Greek documentaries. To begin with, I would like to share with you some thoughts, maybe, about a few words, maybe, about the criteria of the selection. First of all, we focused on documentaries that had participated on previous edition of the Thessaloniki Documentary Film Festival, aiming not only to have easily accessibility to the production companies, as maybe you know better, it was easier to get in touch with them, as we have focused in the past, we have cooperated with in the past, but mainly to give to the directors the opportunity to present their work once again. Furthermore, taking into consideration the potential of the next program, to promote and increase the youth audience interest in knowledge of European films, the selection was made after systematic research and study. We studied the school curricula of Greek and other European countries in an effort to detect common reference points and to make sure that the film suggested can respond to the needs of as many teachers that are active inside and outside of the country as possible. In addition, we focused on local production, as you can see. We consider that we should put these films in priority so as to promote the work of local filmmakers and encourage the students to explore their work and trace their commonalities and differences. Consideration also such as the relationships between European film and literature, science and science fiction, history and culture were focal to the selection of films. Also, the proposed docs were selected on the basis of the film plot or form, and as a result, we have proposed to the committee as the Thessaloniki Film Festival in total 30 documentaries. And in the same direction, we have been moving for the current phases of the program. Although we know that the mission of discovering documentaries suitable for students 6 to 12 years old is a difficult one, we made an effort. It is worth mentioning that a series of school educational screening named Next Gen is included in both of our festivals, fiction and documentary. So as a programming team, we have the opportunity and the access as well to these kinds of docs. So we add to the final selection titles in which the main character belongs to the concrete age level, like Gods of Molenbeek, Inventing Tomorrow, Tres Maisons de Sun, and taking also into account that an average 2-hour feature films cannot easily be integrated in the daily schedule of primary students and cannot attract the Generation A students' interest, we gave also priority to the short films. Within this context, we propose titles like The Children Mayors, Learning to Skateboard in a War Zone if you are a girl, documentaries that are extremely amazing, not only for their topics innovation, but mainly for their artistic glance. You know, for us, the short films plays an important role in our educational programs and in the museum, both museum and festival, because they give us the opportunity to transmit difficult and important issues in a manner that is a little bit comprehensive, meaningful, attractive, and as teenagers said, snappy, something like that. The above argument is underpinned by the first phase participant teachers' comments who mentioned that they prefer clips into the classroom. And in the contrast, maybe I can dare say the whole film, they mainly focused in a film club or something like a cultural project, like a e-twinning or something like that. So it was very helpful for us, these comments, in order to make the selection. And what's next? The dissemination. How the next tools will get into the primary educational classroom, and which will be the more effective method. As we are saying in Greece, the secret of the success is the willingness of the teachers. During next one, as we were in the pilot phase of the project, we decided firstly to work with like a focus group, to work with 12 different secondary school teachers. And the selection was made according to the former experience for the educators. We are wondering, for instance, have this teacher handled any other similar project? Does the school have any particular identity? Maybe it is something like art school, experiment school. At the same time, it is considered very important to grant opportunities to the school located in the country periphery, like Crete or Tolokarnania. So aiming to provide to teacher participants alternative educational tools and mainly to offer them the confidence to use them via Nextus content, we implemented a series of workshops Each of them, 3 in total, focused on different topic discussion, like educational versus war, painting a film, and last but not least, a presentation of educational guides. During the webinars, we usually apply the methodology of simulation, giving the teacher the opportunity to work exactly like teachers. They are divided in groups. They have to fill a variety of worksheets to study specific topics. Taking a taste, for example, for the topic education versus war, we selected 2 different documentaries from the platform relevant to the topics like Silent Witness and extremely interesting Greek documentary about civil war, and 30 Years of Darkness, a Spanish production with similar theme aiming to focus how can we utilize dogs as a primary historical sources to discover the importance of education in difficult and tense historical moments. Similar to the topic of the webinar named Painting a Film, the main purpose was to find out how the different forms of art can integrate and become part of documentaries. For that reason, we're trying on one hand to study the various types of art representation on screen like the biographies of famous painters, the cultural places as film locations, the famous paintings as film mise-en-scène inspiration, and on the other hand, we're trying to explore the correlation between the 2 different narrative codes, film and painting, exploring at the same time the famous quote of Michelangelo Antonioni, painting a film. So we focused on questions like which are the main colors of the shot, what type of shot you discover, how are the objects of the room. Within the same place, we are going to prepare some sample of collection addressed to primary education. We will select some of the subjects of the platform that we consider that teachers in school usually deal with them, like history, bullying, educational, refugees, in order to familiarize students with different kinds of documentaries. And we will create some recommendation in order to motivate them and to prove that if they would like to make their lesson more interactive, maybe Nextus offer them the way. For example, for the World Refugee Day, June 20, for example, setting as a topic discussion empathy issues, we're going to design a collection concerning the oral history, but through children's glance maybe. And in continuity, we're going to implement a series of educational activities following the film educational worksheets that BFI recommend on into film project. We will design some worksheets concerning either how we introduce a dog to the students. We work on the poster of the dogs, for example, or what means film languages, on which similarities and differences we can discover between the dogs, not only on the film language method, but also on the representation of its social and historical context. Last but not least, our vision is to combine the Nextus content with the audiovisual material of the museum via a new educational program addressed to Generation Alpha. How? Using the material of Nextus in order to enrich and renew the content of these activities, to build new ideas above the pre-existing knowledge. For example, one of the most popular programs of the museum addressed to the secondary students called Gender in Screen. The program is directly interrelated with the first grade of high school student, and especially with the school lesson of literature. So the challenge is to adapt the content to the needs of this age, giving the opportunity to participate to an educational program during which students will have the opportunity to make research, in the supplementary audiovisual material of the museum, to watch 3 different extracts, either from the platform or of the museum, in order students have the overall perspective of the museum and at the same time of the platform. And last but not least again, we are going to visit schools in order to present the platform, to exchange our experiences, and mainly to activate students to use the documentaries not only as means of familiarization with the film languages, but also as a tool of filmmaking teaching. A very important moment for us during the first phases of the project was when one of the teachers told us that the platform was the instrument of an oral history project with the students. It was very important because he suggested to the students to collect interviews from their siblings in order to study the commons on Nazi attitudes, common events to various occupied countries, and mainly in order to learn a little bit the documentary's filmmaking techniques. So it will be amazing if we manage to do something similar with a team of toddlers filmmakers now. To sum up, it is very likely that the Alpha generation will never use a wallet, might never never listen to a radio, may never see a camera with a 5mm camera that requires film, or a certain alarm clock, but it's very possible for us and very ambitious via a project like Next to Generation Alpha to experience what happened around the world in 80 not days, but maybe in 80 minutes. That's all.
Thank you very
For
much,
us.
Irina.
He's my daughter. Ας τη βλέπουμε, δεν πειράζει.
Yeah, we are all working for this next generation. Thank you
βλέπουμε
very
την
much. I think
τελευταία.
that what was really important is that you mentioned is the interdisciplinary need to think of a film being a part of the whole learning experience. Part meaning that it also includes other disciplines like exhibition or painting or maybe sculpture even. So that's that could be a whole package. And at the same time, that goes back to another vision of how we should target different audiences, and it's called audience design. When you are very much focusing on the needs of your audience that you first research. So you are not only based on your own presumptions, but you really do a research. And I think we as adults, we can imagine a lot of things that are important for our kids, but then there's also a work to go and to really check if how much this is working. Thank you very much. I think also a very important important element of the whole picture when talking about Generation Alpha and children's content is to empower teachers that are our allies in this context, and how to empower them and how to make them aware of the films that they can use for the lessons. We will now move to docs after this, but I think that was a very inspirational and very also hands-on presentation, and there is a lot of learnings out of it. Thank you, Irina, very much.
Thank you.
And right now, as I said, we will still stay in the documentary field since our next guest is Polish-based artistic director of documentary festival, Karolina Śmigel. Karolina, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Welcome.
Hi, Joanna, everyone. Thank you for invitation.
So you are the initiator of this documentary program aimed at the same time at sort of both audiences, so industry and the regular audiences, and you are only focused on documentaries, and so far that's the only this kind of initiative in Poland. It was the second edition this year, am I right?
Yeah. Yes, it was 1 month ago, 2 months ago, actually. Yeah, 1 month ago.
and you are also a producer, so the festivals or how we spread the content that we produce is I think also a sort of a very important existential question to you professionally. So could you tell us more about about the origins of the idea and how this initiative is growing and the effects and the anything that you can share with us that can be useful for today's discussion.
Yeah, actually, I thank you so much, and I will continue something you mentioned before about research the user needs because it's something that we start with this project, and maybe I will use a presentation just for my structure my my mind and my thoughts. Just one moment. Okay. I think it's here. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, I will make a view presentation. Yeah, so I'm from Warsaw, from a Center for Film Culture, Andrzej Wajda Center for Film Culture, which is quite new a city organization, institution established in 2019. And actually, we started running the center with the topic of documentaries for young audience, which I brought to the center this topic because I was inspired by ITFA festival and something that they are doing in the Netherlands, creating whole ecosystem of producing, distributing educational screenings and financing of the documentaries for children and for youngsters. And it was big inspiration. So we started to think why we need documentaries. I love documentaries because I'm a producer of documentaries. I also love watching documentaries, but we was wondering if it's still a tool or the medium to communicate with younger generation, and if it's still so interesting as for us. So the idea was to check how we can talk about documentaries and when we were meeting with the children, I mean children like 10 plus and teenagers, we always asked what they have association with the word documentaries, and they always mention in Poland we have a big tradition of nature documentaries, especially with the voiceover of very famous woman. So they recognize mostly this kind of movies. But we slowly from this we start discussion that documentaries using the same topics and the same, maybe not the same, but similar language that they are using in social media. I mean, for example, on TikTok or Snapchat or Instagram, they share their stories, real stories from reality, they observation of the world, something which with which they are disagree, and their way of thinking about the world, about the nearest surrounding, the local things, and so on. So we thought that it's not so far from from something that they are using every day, and something that we wanna make a space in creating documentaries for them. So it was starting point, and because in Poland that time it was 2020, we nobody recognized something this kind of genre like documentaries for young audience. For example, when I was calling to Polish public television and mentioned that we have this kind of conference or screenings or pitchings of the project, they always ask, but these movies are made by children or what? Because we don't know what it is. So the starting point was very hard, but we recognized that to stimulate having or starting to creating something similar that that people have in the Netherlands. So institution interested in the documentaries, some distribution, educators, teachers, and finally audience. We need to produce own content about Polish teenagers, about Polish backgrounds, about Polish Polish situation, problems, and so on, or challenges they are facing on, because documentary is the most power of documentary is that you can really identify and empathize. Oh my God, it's hard word. Empathize with the characters and protagonists, because they are from real life, you know. It's a reality, and it's really often that some of their problems are meeting with your problems. So so it was starting point, and we start with making documentary ideas lab, which has the same name as our festival. So Let's Doc. It was program for filmmakers who want to start working on their documentaries for young audiences. So far, we made like fourth edition of this program, and some of films are already they have already premiered, like for example Girls' Stories by Aga Bożym, which was shown on Millennium Docs Against Gravity, the biggest documentary festival in Poland and in this region in Europe, but also it was shown at ITFA Film Festival, and some of them are in production. So we are happy that this program slowly but like constantly is changing something in a production market in Poland. But our specific situation is not, you know, creating a laboratorium for adults who want to make movies about children, but we really want to work with children and young people, because it's I'm old, you know, I'm 20 years older than they are. I'm from different generation, and many of my colleagues, directors, they are in the similar age. We can be like the parents of this generation, and we have no access to their world without them. So if we don't start discussion and without you know, looking for their perspective and their voice, it's completely pointless to making movies only about them, because we have a lot of movies with young protagonists, but not necessarily these movies are directed to young audiences. So in this program, I also have a background in design thinking methodology, so I use a little bit this kind of tools, and we create a group of young experts who consulting the movies from the very beginning, on which these directors are working on, and they have like common workshops. They're watching together some documentaries, they comment, they discuss, and we trying to make an atmosphere that their voices are equal. This is not like adult teacher and young student, but actually they are teachers for us, and we are working in a way of thinking that I can call nothing about us without us. I don't know if it's good translation, but we have this kind of sentence in Poland. So that means that they are very, very important part of this process of creating movies. And I know that the whole Hollywood is working like that. Like they have focus group and they checking if movies are working or no. But in artistic field, I feel that somehow we are sometimes we are very far from our audience and their needs and their point of view, and it could be working in adult documentaries because we are from the same generation. But when the distance of age is so far, I think we need to listen their voices. So we're creating somehow during among this process or program, we create a platform which giving a voice for giving the space for their voices, and also make a real atmosphere that their voices are really important, because I really believe that they will change our world, and not we, because we disturb this world, and so we need someone who will unfortunately take this responsibility and maybe make it better. And also, because I'm really working in a field with them, I have a very close relation during the workshops. We have a lot of meetings together, and I know that they are very. This generation A is really focused on social and really aware of political, social cases, and about I don't know, climate crisis, about psychological crisis, which are very often in this generation, and a lot of the other things like wars and everything that it's coming from the media, and it's part of their world. So so that's why I think making this program, we start to thinking about creating the platform where they can watch also the movies, and that was the idea and starting point for the festival. We are making second year. First year it was first edition. It was in October 23. But it was very bad date. A lot of festivals took place in this time in Warsaw. A lot of big premieres of big movies, and autumn is always very difficult also for schools. So this year we changed the date for April, and next year probably it will be in March. So we still trying and changing things, because I also following this idea that everything we are doing is experimental, and we are learning on mistakes, and this is the best actually lessons, and I really appreciate our mistakes. And experimental formula making us freedom and really a place for our audience, that we are care about their needs, and we can check if we are going right direction. So the festival, the festival has like typical structure, has a competition, Young Dogs 10 plus for this age category, and Young Dogs 14 plus. We have also done non-competitive section like Window to the World, where we like, let's say, panorama, where we are showing the best documentaries from last 10 years, which are not well known in Poland because they haven't like very wide distribution, or in the past they can be watched only during festivals. And the second non-competitive section is Polish Backyard, where we are showing Polish documentaries, which we are thinking that are very good for these age categories. But for example, directors not necessarily making this movie with this idea and thinking about this audience. So we are discovering new step for distribution of these films. Of course, we have a lot of workshops during the festival, some lecturers, some Q&A with guests, with directors. But I think what is the most important, we are involving young people to like judging the films. We have young jury which giving the award, which is financial for directors. So I think it's also special and gives them a power in somehow. We have also ECFA jury because we are a member of ECFA, and we have young volunteers. That means that people by 16 years old. It's hard work with volunteers in that age because they are not treating this as a work or something like that. But I think it's very crucial for this kind of festival that they are really made also by young people. We have a lot of schools attending this year to the festivals. Unfortunately, it's not the same with still with individual viewers. So we are still working on that field. That of course it's easier to bring schools to the screenings, to the cinema. Because the teacher is someone who is deciding, and it's much more harder with individual viewers because it's their individual decision. But we are still thinking and actually rethinking how to do that, and we check with our young consultants what tips they have to bring the young generation to the cinema by their own, not with the parents or teachers. And of course we started TikTok this year, and we trying to do this also with young people, to communicate with them by the tools that they are really using. I don't know in what direction it will go, but I'm really curious about that. We are also showing the Polish documentary classics to like Marcel Łoziński films, Krzysztof Kieślowski films, and asking if these films could be interesting for Generation A in 2024, and checking if it's still something which could be important for them, and the topics are still updated. And we have also online version of the festival on our VOD platform, which is which lasts during the festival and some days after. But during the whole year, we have also something which we called Film Essential. So I mean, educational materials for teachers, and also some choosing of 10 library of 10 documentaries that they can watch during the lessons in school, and working with the materials we prepared for them. So we are trying to also work with documentaries on this educational field. And we have some new ideas for the future, which we want to try, and I don't know how it will work, but it's something which we create together with our audience. So we think about pre-selection of films making by young experts. We also think about Q&A conducted by jury members, these young jury members, and young experts from Let's Doc program. We wanted to start because so far we make a scouting of the films, and when I was programming, I just selecting the films from other festivals, but we want to open the call for films. And we also thinking about some intergenerational section, which bring together like adults and youngsters to think about very important problems on the world. So for example, gender equality, psychological crisis, climate crisis, and so on. And we can discuss, and maybe, I don't know, it's maybe utopian idea, but creating some small solution how to make the world better. So this is idea for the future, but yeah, what I want to bring here, I think it's what you said, that it's really important to be close to this audience and listen to this audience and these people, because in other way we don't understand their world and not create anything which will be relevant for them. So yeah, thank you so much. I hope that I didn't take so much time.
Thank you very much, Carolina. It was a very insightful and inspirational presentation of a real event happening in the city, quite new also. I have only one question because we don't have much time for more, but how much, we were talking before about who is our ally in this, and we are talking about teachers, parents, obviously. Do you work with influencers, for example, to attract the audience?
Yeah, actually, we have not enough budget for working with very, famous influencers, but we are trying to work with someone from the educational field. There are some influencers in Poland, like very known teachers who are leading their, I don't know, blogs, vlogs or whatever, and Instagram and so on. So yeah, we are trying to work with them and some institutions or organizations that are recognizable for youngsters. For example, I don't know, Sex Ed, Grow Space. So also organization made by younger people than we are. So in somehow we are trying to also focus on their working and or their activities to bring some new audience to us.
I think it's a very important topic to really know who are our allies and try to reach out to them, because we can be helped in our mission to make this world a better place. And thank you for also putting in this away, because it is very much about that, for our better future, for our children. We were now going to meet another stakeholder in the field, a director this time, Rachel Ciesiński, a French director that was for many years involved in a life project for youth initiative, and here she's representing a youth vision. Rachel, are you with us?
Yes, I am. I am with you. Do you hear
Welcome.
me? Please?
Yes, we hear you very well. Could you please tell us very quickly, what was the life project for youth, and about your youth visions project that you are working on currently?
Yeah, I will explain to you everything on the presentation, and then I will ask you to show some images. I think it's already settled. So thank you, everyone. I'm very eager to be with you today and to participate in this panel. I like to think I'm still young myself. I'm not part of Generation A, but not so far. I'm 27 years old, so yes, I'm from France. And after studying history of fine arts, philosophy, and a bit of cinema, I finally decided to go away. Literally, I needed to meet the world as it is concretely. And this is where I entered LP4Y, so Life Project for Youth. And this is an NGO focusing on the social and professional integration of excluded young adults coming from extreme poverty and based mostly in Asia. So I was 22 when I joined the LP4Y, Life Project for Youth, and I worked in the field for them for 2 years, mostly in India and in Lebanon. And then Romain, that is with us today also, I think, a former colleague from LP4Y, so the same NGO, asked me if I would be interested to start thinking about a movie to give a voice to these young adults that we met during our experience with LP4Y, and that we're facing so many challenges, so important this day. These challenges are exile, situation of exile, woman subjection, isolation, eviction, climate change, of course. And so we started this project that we called Youth Visions. This is the name of the movement, not the name of the movie, in December 2022. And the shooting took place in Paris, Jakarta, New Delhi, Lebanon, and New York for 7 months. And all the characters of the film are young adults that were accompanied by LP4Y. So basically what we did was to come for approximately 1 month and a half in each of these countries and ask to join us all the former youth from LP4Y programs who were interested to raise their voices on specific topics, because we had one angle for each place we were. So it was women rights in Lebanon. It was autonomy from the family and community in India, climate change and eviction in Indonesia, and situation of exile in Paris. So after that, we had like 3 weeks to shoot everything, and basically all the film crew, so of course it was a very small film crew, but all the film crew was staying in the slums or the regions where the main characters were living. So we were really part of their lives, and this is something I was used to because of my former experience with LP4Y, because LP4Y centers are implemented directly in the slums. But it really helps, of course, to create bonds with the people you are filming. And for documentarists, it's really what is the most precious, I guess. So today we've almost finished post-production. So after 5 months of editing in India, I just got back from Kolkata a few weeks ago, and we'll be starting the mixing and color grading in about 10 days. So it's really the end of the road for us. And by the way, we are still looking for distributors. So if there are some in the room today that are interested, don't hesitate to contact me afterwards to learn more about it. So before I continue, I would like to show you a short video. It's not really an official trailer. I'm sorry, because I think the subtitles are not perfect. There is no mix and color grading yet, as I was saying, but still it will be more powerful, I think, if you look at what the movie will look like.
Ce qui imagine quand tu arrives dans un pays, tu n'as qu'un seul petit sac. C'est tout ce que tu as dans le monde, quoi.
In our world of plenty, poverty should have no home. Meanwhile, conflicts, the climate crisis, discrimination and exclusion, particularly against women and girls, are deepening the distress.
عندي 4 بنات مخطوبين 13 سنة. صح.
मुझे ट्रस्ट नहीं हो रहा कि तुम शादी कर रही हो।
हाँ तो कोई प्रॉब्लम है?
Moi, je vais dire qu'au fait, étant un noir, que tu n'es pas le bienvenu ici.
Yang hidup di situ dari kecil, banyak laler, banyak sampah. Sekarang alhamdulillah udah berubah.
अरे जैसी लड़कियां के लिए ठीक नहीं है ये।
تحكي لنا عن فلسطين لأحفادك؟
ولا بحكي لي ولا يحكوا لي لا شيء، احكي لي انه عمل الانسان بالتدرس.
زوجك قد ايه كان عمره؟
كان هو عمره 41.
My motto is never give up. Great things take time. Thank you.
Oui, tu l'as vu, non loin de là-bas. Une année de plus où tombent les pétales.
one day kita bisa pergi dari lingkungan ini, mungkin pergi ke tempat yang lebih bagus.
Dancing का freedom भी चाहिए और dance से freedom हो सकते हैं.
À compter les étoiles. Et maintenant c'est plus pareil. On sait plus trop se parler. Seulement des nuages au loin. Chaque seconde un peu plus floue. Chaque seconde un peu moins fort. Le temps que brûle notre étoile.
Tu vois cette beauté, elle donne l'impression qu'il n'y a rien.
Thank you very much for sharing this with us, Rachel. You said that it's still in post-production, but it looked like a finished material. It was really beautiful and you know, very well structured, and also with the thought that Carolina mentioned before, you know, a film made about your young people, but also for young people, but made by young people. You said that you are now looking for distributors. I definitely think we have some in the room, so let's hope it is this think tank that the think tank webinar that we have today will also serve as a networking platform, that it should be also in its essence. What is your experience while working in this setup of young people?
Well, it was really powerful because basically this movie is a docudrama. So it means that this specific form enables us to build a narrative with the main protagonist that goes beyond them individually. So it means that we were discussing together, okay, according to what you are living in your life for real, how you can project it for something bigger than only yourself. And it was possible because each one of our characters has its own way of formal creation. Like Mamadou, the main character in Paris, is from Guinea. He's writing a script. Diane in Indonesia, she's drawing and painting. Sumaira in Lebanon, she's taking photos. And Lakshmi in India, she's dancing. So through all these modes of expression, we were able to reveal together what their peers and themselves were facing. So in a way, it was more real than a more classical documentary, because by making this film, we were actually realizing their projects. With Mamadou, we really worked on a draft of script that is maybe soon going to be produced. With Lakshmi, we really shot a short musical with professional dancers as choreographers, and it's a dream of a lifetime. So everything is real, and I think this is really the strength of this film. This is the wonderful energy that is coming from the main protagonist through their commitments, and the film in itself helps them to push these commitments in the stage further. So the title of the movie, until now, it was the biggest interrogation mark, but it will probably be I Am the Future, and it's quite literal because indeed we are the Mrs. and the Misters of tomorrow, and it will be insane to ignore 1/3 of them, those who live with less than $2 per day, under the pretext of their so-called invisibility. And there is an urgent need for these voices to be heard, because how can we build a sustainable and equitable society if these young people are not part of the public scene? Not in TV, not in films, not in debates. And so actually it was a very simple but yet very powerful ideas we had since the beginning, with everyone working in this project of movie, that the social and economical rift that divides our societies is always also a narrative one. And there is good chances that if we work to reduce the second, it will have an impact of the first. So the aim of this film is not simply to reveal stories, but really to trigger and inspire commitments. This is why our goal with this movie is not only to reach movie theaters or festivals, but also to develop an alternative path for this movie to be seen and used. So as we were also talking about something similar before, we are creating some pedagogic content to accompany the film, so it can be screened in schools and lead to different kind of topics reflection. But we want also to have a lot of private projection organized by companies or private institutions, and of course benefit from the presence of LP4Y network in 14 countries, both in Asia, America, and Europe to do so. So we are currently developing an online platform for everyone that see the film to find leads, to develop their thinking about social justice, and then to discover concrete opportunities and ways to get more engaged on these topics if they want to pursue further. So it's really a movie, this movie is really a tool to connect words that are usually apart from each other, and to create commitments, to create big dreams, to create a strong desire to live together, and this in many countries, and of course also outside Europe. So yeah, that's it. If you want to know more, we have an Instagram page. The name is Youth Visions in one word _movie. So don't hesitate to have a look. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rachel, and congratulations on your very courageous and bold project, and good luck with it. I think also the aim of this webinar is to meet you all, because you are all of you individually have a power in your own field, so you can support each other, and that would be amazing if that happens. We have already some big platforms here present that can be helpful in achieving the goal you want to achieve, Rachel. So let's hope that will happen. But right now we need. I would like to. We will be slowly wrapping up the session. We have one more guest with us, Miomir Rajcevic from Serbia. Miomir, for you. Since you are the last one to talk, I would like to ask you, and you have also a very various experience in the film field, being a director, script writer, but also a cinematographer. And here you are also representing as you are president of the Serbian Media Education Center that is focusing on film and education. Could you please try to sum up and to tell us, well, Rachel right now, she was talking very much about Gen Z. The main topic of today's webinar is actually Gen A, but as also what was also said today is that these generations are not that far, but still there are some differences. And from your experience, from also your perspective on the project that you are running, that is called Kids in All Digital Space, how could you please sum up what are these main challenges that are ahead of us? I think we don't hear you. Try now.
Do you hear me?
Yes, now we hear you. Welcome.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened, but thank you for a nice presentation, and thanks to organizers, my friends from Athens, to invite me to participate in this important panel discussion. And it was my pleasure to listen to the participants. First, I will give some short information about Media Education Center, if you permit me. So Media Education Center started to work 1993 in field in media literacy. And it was first time in the territory of Serbia that some group of people start to educate young people and to motivate them to finish their university and to work in the field of media and film. Officially, Media Education Center is established 2001, and the first department, first laboratory, how we ask, it was a media laboratory we formed 2006 with support of friends from different European media educational institutions, universities, and film association. And after that, we open a second department. The name is Digital Laboratory. After that, we open Peace Laboratory, Health Laboratory, Economy Laboratory, Environmental Laboratory, and last but not less important is Social Laboratory. In every laboratory, of course, we are working in field of media and film and animation and everything else like a tool to promote this part of important for every society, and to try to motivate as much as possible young people to understand media, and especially to understand new media. At the moment, Media Education Center is a member of three Brussels network. One is all digital network. Second is famous ECFA. Many people mention today ECFA. We are also member of ECFA. And also, from the beginning, Media Education Center is member of European Audiovisual Institute from Brussels, and collaborate very, very close with them. We are also a member of Youth Cinema Network. It is many organization and festival promote, motivate young people to become filmmakers, and also give workshops and knowledge for anybody who is interested. And we are a coordinator for Europe for International Cities of Peace, and we are a global coordinator for World Network for Museums of Peace. Also, we are a member of Global Dialogue Foundation. And last, we are in special advising status with UN Economical Social Council in New York, Geneva, and Vienna. So I prepare one short presentation. If you permit me, I will now try to answer to your question through my presentation.
Please do.
I hope that you see it.
Yes.
Okay.
We have only a few minutes left, so I would want you to start. Is there any comment that would like to add to the slides that you are showing, Mayomir? Are you with us, Mayomir?
Sorry,
we don't. Sorry, we don't hear you. Yeah, there is some problem with the sound.
Do you hear my presentation?
No, we don't. Well, let's do like that we will, because we have it here on our hard drive, so we can play it from here, so you don't worry, all right?
Kids media.
Right, perfect.
Evolution Across Generations or Kids in Digital Spaces. This title encapsulates the focus on media production with kids, highlighting the evolution from 2004 to 2024, and emphasizing the digital transformation across generations. Media production with kids in 2004 versus 2024. Tools and platforms. General Z is more focused on social media platforms and tools, while General Alpha is poised to utilize more advanced technologies integrated into everyday devices. Content creation. General Z favors short-form, authentic content, while General Alpha will likely include more gamification, diverse narratives, and seamless digital-physical integration. Consumption habits. General Z is mobile-first with a preference for short, engaging content, whereas General Alpha is comfortable with a variety of devices and integrated, interactive experiences. Both generations, however, share a common thread of valuing engagement and connection through media, but the means and methods evolve with technological advancements and changing social contexts. Our project Danube Plus is a transnational event with a focus on film, animation, and media education, intercultural innovative learning, creativity, and global citizenship education for sustainable development. We are creating a mobile, digital, and multimedia edutainment space developing a high level of participatory philosophy of the kids, young people, and their teachers, trainers, and educators engage in design thinking, learning and leadership processes, seminars, and workshops aiming to produce various film, animation, and media during this process. This material is the cornerstone of an international platform designed to connect, inspire, and support people to find innovative educational approaches and to help them to become active citizens. It builds up skills and knowledge and gathers experience to share the information important for promoting possibilities for future media and digital literacy challenges by creating new partnerships, networks, and collaborative connections, promoting cross-sector and cross-border cooperation. It is a long-term project encouraging the Alpha generation to invent new models of digital media education, cultural heritage exchange protection, and traditional richness with tourism for peace, social, economic, and environmental responsibility. By incorporating gamified elements such as quizzes, puzzles, and missions within stories, the project creates interactive educational content that emphasizes the importance of peace and environmental stewardship. Kids are encouraged to design and develop simple educational games that highlight themes like river conservation, cross-cultural understanding, and international cooperation along the Danube River. Interaction and engagement are enhanced through seamless digital and physical integration, using Arkansas storytelling to blend digital storytelling with the physical environment of the Danube. Projects may combine physical materials, such as river samples or local artifacts, with digital media, such as stop-motion animation featuring real-world objects from the Danube region enhanced with digital effects to create a more immersive experience. The Danube for Peace initiative within the Kids in Digital Space project aims to inspire a new generation of peace builders and environmental stewards. By linking the cultural and environmental significance of the Danube River with digital media creation, the project fosters a sense of unity and purpose among kids from different backgrounds, encouraging them to contribute to both peace among people and harmony with nature. Media production with kids in 2004 versus 2024. Tools and platforms. General Z is more focused on social media platforms and tools, while General Alpha is poised to utilize more advanced technologies integrated into everyday devices. Content creation. General Z favors short-form, authentic content, while General Alpha will likely include more gamification, diverse narratives, and seamless digital-physical integration. Consumption habits. General Z is mobile-first with a preference for short, engaging content, whereas General Alpha is comfortable with a variety of devices and integrated, interactive experiences. Both generations, however, share a common thread of valuing engagement and connection through media, but the means and methods evolve with technological advancements and changing social contexts. The Kids in Digital Space media production project aims to equip Generation Alpha with the skills to navigate and utilize emerging digital platforms and advanced technologies. The project encourages kids to explore and use new social media and digital content platforms, integrating innovative features in existing ecosystems to create more immersive and engaging media content. Advanced tech integration plays a significant role, where AI tools assist in scripting, editing, and producing media content, and tools for augmented reality and virtual reality experiences are provided to enable the production of immersive narratives and interactive stories. Additionally, smart home devices and connected toys are leveraged to enhance interactive storytelling. In terms of consumption habits, the project acknowledges that Generation Alpha is familiar with multiple digital devices, including tablets, smartwatches, and smart speakers. This multi-device familiarity enriches the media creation process, integrating physical play with digital storytelling through connected toys and utilizing smart home devices for interactive storytelling and educational content delivery. Content themes in the Kids in Digital Space project focus on gamified learning and diverse narratives. By incorporating gamified elements such as quizzes, puzzles, and missions within stories, the project creates interactive educational content. Kids are also encouraged to design and develop simple educational games as part of their media production projects. On the narrative side, the project aims to foster global storytelling, reflecting diverse perspectives, cultures, and stories from around the world. Tools are provided to produce content in multiple languages, promoting cultural exchange and reaching a wider audience.
All right, thank you very much, Meomir. Thank you for bringing technology in the room. That is so important for the Generation Alpha that we talked about a lot today. With sadness, I need to wrap up the session, but this is not the end because the next webinars will be taking place tomorrow and after tomorrow, and hopefully also there will be a continuation in the next years because we are just starting to mapping the situation and observing what is happening and how can we react to it. Thank you very much for sharing all your different approaches, different perspectives. It was, I think, already very inspiring exchange of thoughts. Good luck with all of your projects, and hope to see you sooner or later on one of the festivals talking about young audience phones. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Bye.
Thank you.